The next thing, the final thing in terms of pre-frames, and this is going to be, this is the most, I think probably the most important thing for you to remember when it comes to frame control. Remember, frames produce a frame of reference with respect to which you know how to evaluate whatever message or behavior is going on, right? I'll give you an example of what I mean in terms of sales and how to change the meaning of something. I think it's Sonoma makes a bread maker. You know, these little machines, you put flour and water and stuff like that in, push a button, in the morning you have a lovely loaf of bread. Lovely. Not the most inexpensive of machines. Sales were okay. A few years down the line, they introduced a new bread maker. It has extra buttons and things that spin and turn things, and you can put nuts and bolts in and all kinds of stuff. It's true. Except, I don't know. But it's apparently better. And it's a lot more expensive. So this comes out. What do you think the expectations are of the sales team in terms of sales for the new machine, given that the older machine was it's doing okay, but wasn't doing great? I mean, it's not a crazy sales. Any ideas? They'll probably think, you know, the old machine typically it'll die out. No one will want it because the new one's on board, and it'll make similar sort of sales to a new one, right? No. In fact, what happened is the new machines sold virtually nil. So they sold a few, but not very few. But the sales for the old machine went through the roof. Just think about it. You have two machines. They essentially do the same thing. They make bread. One costs you, I don't know, $600. The other one costs $100. If you have no frame of reference, $100 to get a loaf of bread, what are you comparing it to? You're comparing it to a $2 loaf of bread you buy in the supermarket. That's not worth it, is it? But now you have a $600 machine that does the same thing. Of course, it's a bargain. It's only $100. Do you see how that works? The contrast frame is very important. Now, you might think that you know you're a little smarter than that. You wouldn't be caught out that way. Allow me to offer you a scenario and see how this works for you. Anyone here ever buy pants like jeans or something like that? Like $50. How much are they? $50, $100, something like that. Is that right? You walk into a jeans shop. You find your favorite pair of jeans. Let's say they cost $80, right? You know that across town there's another store that sells the same jeans for $60, $50, something like that. Where do you buy those jeans?
The one across town.
The one across town? Would that be fair to say? Yeah. Right? And that seems like a sensible choice. You're saving $30, right? You're going to buy a flat-screen TV. Costs $1,000. You know for a fact across town, right next to the jeans store, in fact, there's a store that sells the same exact TV for $9,970. Actually, let me make it easier. $9,900. You save a whole $100. Where do you buy the TV? The store that you're in, because it's easier. Yeah. What is it that you are referring to? It's not the $100 or the $30 you're saving. What you are choosing or using as your criteria to buy, you're contrasting the price of one TV against the other. At that point, $30 is nothing. $30 compared to $1,000 is barely a saving, it's pennies. $30 compared to $80, it's huge, that's almost half the value of it. So do you see how contrast takes meaning much more than objective fact? So, when you're setting your frames, it's very important that you choose the right things for people to contrast your ideas, your products, your services, and so on against. Does that make sense? Because if they make a different comparison, well, there'll be a different conclusion at that point. Do you like that? It's useful? Now let's have a little chat about reframes. The idea of reframing is, quick question, come up.
Yeah, I do that actually, what Igor just mentioned about contrast. There's a time to use a percentage as the contrast mechanism, and there's a time to use a dollar amount as a mechanism.
Right.
And it's very important that you choose the right one, otherwise you get this kind of thing. $30 will go across town, pay for parking and gas, and you think it's a bargain. $30 in a TV store, you won't even think about it because the percentage of difference is so minute, even though the dollar amount is the same.
Right. And again, it just depends on what is the message you need to get out there. Make sense?